Okay. All right, it is 7 o'clock, so we are gonna get started. And hopefully more people will hop on here. If you are watching the live stream through the Facebook group, I cannot see your comments. So if you ask a question, I'll get to it later. If you're participating live, I can see that a question has been asked, but my laptop's so far away, I won't be able to see what it actually is. So just like interrupt me and ask the question. Did we lose Terry? There we go. 2 more people.
I'm on now though.
Okay. Okay, there you go, Terry. Okay, you're trying to unmute. So, I don't know if you heard me say, just come off mute and ask your question because I won't be able to see it in the chat. I can't read that far away. So welcome, Carla. If you can, there you go. Hi, Carla. It's more fun to see people's faces. Here comes Katie. Yay. All right, well, I'll give people 1 more minute here. Hi, Katie. You'll have to unmute if you want to ask a question. I have my Zoom set up that when people hop on, they're automatically muted because you never know what background noise is going on at people's houses. So Terry, I saw some color flash there for a minute, like you were trying to get your camera on. There we go. Yay, I love seeing people's faces. So, all right, well, I'm expecting 12, but I'm not going to wait for all 12 people because often a lot of people don't show up. So I want to respect your time and we're going to get started. So all of you know me well. I am live streaming this onto my recipe group. So if you're watching from there, I can't answer questions until we hop off because I can't see your questions. Those of you that are on live, just come off mute and just ask your question out loud. So my neighbor Christy is, she is here helping me. She just got Pampered Chef's Deluxe multi-cooker, Monday or Tuesday?
Yesterday, actually. It was yesterday.
Yesterday, okay, and she's already used it like 3 times. So she's here for like training, but she's also gonna help me. And I heard from all of you on here live that you have a pressure cooker of some sort, but want to learn how to use it a little more, a little bit better. So that's perfect. Only 1 person who registered didn't have a pressure cooker at all. So we'll see if she hops on. But if you have questions, just interrupt me. I will not take offense to that. I sometimes just kind of get in the zone and just talk and talk and talk. So just interrupt me. And I told my neighbor Christy to just ask a question too, because if she's thinking it, you're probably thinking it as well. Okay, so we're gonna just jump in and make a recipe. And then while it's cooking, I'm gonna go over some of the basics of pressure cooking. If you want to take notes, you're more than welcome to. If you just want to listen and you want me to email you all my bullet points, I can do that as well. Okay, so we are gonna make cheddar broccoli risotto with chicken. And this is a super fast recipe, and that's why I picked it. And it shows the sear function and the pressure cooking function. So I wanted to show 2 different functions. But you'll notice that the way I've got my lid is upside down on the Deluxe multi-cooker, and that's how you want to store your lid. You never want to store it completely closed because this silicone ring right here is very similar to like the silicone ring that's on your door of your front loading washing machine. And if it's always closed, the ring is gonna start to smell. So you always want to store your lid like this. Wherever you store it, on the counter or in the cupboard, store the lid upside down. Now the silicone ring does come out and you can throw it in the dishwasher, at least for our machine. And then our Deluxe multi-cooker, our lid stands upright while you're working, which is really, really nice. So, okay, so we're gonna get started. I have a power button on the back, and I'm gonna, if you wanna come around, and I'm gonna have Christy move the dial to the sear section, to the sear function. And she's just gonna keep moving it until the sear button flashes, and you can probably see that on your screen that the sear function is flashing. And then she's just gonna hold in the power button. And it's starting. So I'm just gonna drizzle a little bit of oil. And the sear function on your pressure cooker is just like sauteing something on the stove. And this and the warming function are the only functions where you don't have to have the lid on, because you're not pressure cooking at all. It's just the inner pot is getting warm. Now, recipes where you have to sear something first, because the inner pot gets nice and hot, your recipe is going to come to pressure faster because everything is already hot, versus dumping in a bunch of cold ingredients and then going to pressure cooking, if that makes sense. So it's not a ton faster, but it's a couple minutes, and every minute counts for some of you, for sure.
And you recommend doing that before cooking, right? A lot of the recipes or a lot of things had to sear first, right? Or
Yes, sometimes, like we're gonna sear an onion, pepper, and garlic.
okay.
Some of the recipes you sear your chicken, like your meat first, to get that, you know, that crustiness on it, crispiness, whatever. But some recipes you just dump everything in
Okay.
and then do the pressure cooking. So we're just gonna let that warm up, and we're going to add an onion. And I haven't chopped it yet because I did not want my whole house to smell like onion. Daryl doesn't like that. So I'm just wedging it here. And this is just your basic yellow onion, throwing it in the manual food processor. I love this because it's so easy to use and it's kid friendly for those of you who have kids. You have this?
I don't.
All right, I'm gonna let Christy use it, but first I'll pass this over to you. Just dump that in the quick cooker. If your volume's up, you might be able to hear it start to sizzle there. And then I'll just push this over to you. Perfect. Could have done all the onion at once, but I wanted Christy to do part of it. Are you right-handed or left?
I'm right.
Okay. So you're just gonna steady it with your left and just, oh, hold on, lift it up a little bit. Just, there we go. I'm just gonna kind of- Right.
My kids are making fun of me about when I ordered stuff. I'm like, this is fun to use.
And yep, you just keep going until it's the size that you want. You can probably see the steam here. Yep, and just take the blade out and you can stick it on there. I like the manual food processor because there's no hole in the bottom. So if you're using it for salsa, you can just take the blade out and serve straight from there. And then I'm going to press 2 garlic cloves in here with the garlic press. Add that to the onion. These are great. These are the microwave grip set, but the inner pot moves. And so sometimes that's kind of annoying if you're stirring and the inner pot's moving everywhere. And so you can use one of these to keep the inner pot still while you stir. Some people use a dish towel, but that just kind of gets messy. So, all right, then we're gonna add red pepper. Now in this recipe, the red pepper ends up kind of looking like carrots. So if you have a kid or grandkid that doesn't like red pepper, they might not know that it's a red pepper by the time they eat it. All right, so I love showing this trick at all my cooking parties. To easily, you just want to stir that a couple times. To easily get rid of the membrane and the seeds, the easiest thing to do is just cut all the way around the red pepper. And then you cut off the bottom, and then you just have this whole thing that you throw away. Or put it in your compost pile. And then I'm going to use the quick slice to just quickly slice up each red pepper. It does it into slices, but I'm going to pick it up and turn it and do little dices. And then just dump that in there. And the advantage of using the quick slice versus just using a knife and cutting board is that all your pieces are the same size. And so they're all gonna cook at the same rate. You used this before?
Yeah, we actually, well, we got that fruit one this time, Annabelle got it for Christmas, and she loved it for the house, and we did that.
Can I do the same thing with my older version of this, the multi-cooker thing that I have? Okay.
Yep, the quick cooker has this sear function. Some pressure cookers say saute. It's the same thing.
Are you sending us this recipe too?
Yes, yep, I am sending you everything. And this is actually just straight from my website too. Okay, speaking of recipe, let me check the recipe. All right, so we've got that garlic. All right, we're gonna do a little bit of salt. If you want to crank a little bit of salt in there. Okay, then this recipe calls for arborio rice, and arborio rice is what's used to make risotto. And some people have trouble finding it in the grocery store, but it's there. I always get a bag this size. It's just tealish or whatever. You can also get a big tub of it that's more cost effective if your family really likes risotto, but it's a much creamier consistency. So my son does not like rice, but anything with arborio he likes just because it's a little bit creamier. All right, so that shut off, right? The sear function.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're all done searing. And then we're gonna add just 1 cup of the arborio rice. And the chicken is bite-sized pieces. So that's another reason why this recipe cooks really, really fast, because it comes to pressure really fast. So this is just 1.5 chicken breasts that I just cut into bite-sized pieces. You can do more chicken. This is just the amount of chicken that I know for my family is the right amount, no matter what kind of recipe it is. And this is an easy recipe to double. You could probably even triple it maybe, or 2.5. Your inner pot will have a max fill line. You just don't want to go above that fill line, because then there's not enough space for the pressure to build up. It's not very scientific, but you get the idea. Okay, so we added the rice. If you just want to give it a stir, those. And then I'm gonna add the chicken and chicken broth, 3 cups of chicken broth, and Dijon mustard. It's just 1 tablespoon of Dijon mustard. I'm not gonna measure it because I'll be lucky if there's 1 tablespoon left in here. Good. And then we're just stirring that all up. So far it's got the red bell pepper, the onion, the garlic, the salt, the arborio rice, the chicken broth, and the Dijon mustard. And she's just stirring it up. And then what I always do before I put the lid on is I make sure that silicone ring is down flat. Because if it's not, if part of it is up a little bit, it just messes with the seal and it's not going to come to pressure. So I just always have gotten in the habit of pushing that down, making sure it's down. And then you're going to put the lid on. And those of you who have a quick cooker, the little, again, this part right here, yours is a little bit smaller, but same concept. You want to make sure the little cloud symbol is facing the pressure release button so that they're lined up. You don't want it sideways because again, that messes with the seal and it's not going to come to pressure. So the Deluxe multi-cooker, we just make sure that the little cloud button is down and it's not like twisted. Like it's pretty hard, but sometimes the things get, banged putting them away. Okay, so then Christy is going to turn the dial. We'll hit cancel first, and that kind of clears it out. And she's going to turn the dial to white rice because this recipe only takes 4 minutes to cook. So then, yeah, turn the dial till, just keep going.
There we go. Oh, there we go. Okay.
Okay, and then just press it in to start it. All right, now it says run,
Mhm.
hopefully,
Mhm.
reading it backwards, I can't really tell. That means that it is, and then there's like this little pizza symbol at the bottom. That means that it's preheating, it's coming to pressure. Those of you that have a quick cooker, I think it just flashes like a rectangular flashes, and that's telling you that it's coming to pressure. So even though this recipe only takes 4 minutes to cook, it does have to come to pressure. But this is all hands-off time where you can clean up, you can go get the mail, set the table, whatever. And I love this because it doesn't take up very much space. I had a cooking show last week and we wanted to work on her kitchen table and there wasn't an outlet nearby. So we just set this on a chair in a corner that was near an outlet and it worked perfectly. So it's great for camping. It's great for, you know, if your kitchen's a mess, or if you want to put it somewhere out of reach of kids, it kind of fits everywhere. So a normal recipe, like a normal sized recipe, you can count on it taking like 14 or 15 minutes to come to pressure. This is going to come to pressure a little faster because the inner pot was already hot and the ingredients are so small. If you have like a big chunk of beef, a roast, it's obviously going to take a little bit longer to come to pressure. And if your chicken is frozen, you don't have to really add too much cooking time, but it is going to take longer to come to pressure. So a couple different things to think about. Okay, so Terry, great question. Any of you else have another question before I kind of dive into some logistics of pressure cooking?
So with this recipe in particular, do you think it could be doubled or 1.5
Yeah.
to accommodate more people?
Absolutely. So
Okay.
like at my cooking party on Tuesday, there were 13 guests. And
Mhm.
so we ended up doing 1.5 recipes. And that was perfect.
Okay.
We didn't double it because it was kind of a last minute thing. People just kept RSVPing yes, and she didn't have enough chicken to like completely double it. So we did 1.5 and it worked great. And I just kind of guessed like how much extra chicken broth and stuff. But yeah, absolutely. Any other questions about this or anything? Okay, so one reason why pressure cooking is really popular is because it's fast, it's hands-off, and it's like the best way to maintain the most nutrients in your food. And our machine, and I think the quick cooker as well, once it's done cooking, it's automatically going to switch to warming. So again, it's hands off. You don't have to be right there babysitting it. If you know you're outside playing with the kids, or you run an errand, or you're gardening or whatever, it's just going to switch to warming and wait for you. Is if you keep your food in the pressure cooker, instead of like moving it to a serving dish or something, it's going to keep your food hot longer, which is nice if you're kind of feeding people at different times because of, you know, gymnastics or whatever. So safety is a big thing. What I do love about the quick cooker that some of you have and this Deluxe multi-cooker is that Pampered Chef really emphasized safety. And for your quick cooker, the steam is going to go back, which is nice. It's away from your hands and your face. Something that you want to keep in mind though, if you don't have an island and you've got your quick cooker on the counter, you don't want that steam going back into a cabinet because you're going to damage the paint on your cabinet. So just turn it sideways so it's just going, you know, toward the ceiling. There's nothing in the way. The Deluxe multi-cooker, it doesn't go forward. I mean, you'll see it, but it doesn't go straight up. It's kind of in between straight up and forward, which is nice. It's still not near your face if you're standing in front of it, but it's not going to hit any cabinetry or anything like that. But you definitely want to keep your hands, your face, cabinets away from the steam. Some people will kind of take a towel and just loosely put it over it. I personally don't do that just because I haven't felt a need for it, but if you have a cabinet issue and you don't want to turn your quick cooker, that's another idea. Since it switches to warming, and let's say, oh, when it switches to warming, it will start a count up, so you know how long it's been on warming. But let's say it's been on warming for like 10 minutes because you weren't ready to finish it or deal with it. As it's sitting on warming, it will naturally release some steam. And so by the time you get around to releasing the steam, there might not be any left. So like the first time that happened, I was like, oh my gosh, it didn't come to pressure. I'm gonna have all this raw meat in there. And it was perfect. It just everything had naturally released, and I didn't even think about that. So we added the chicken broth. You have to have liquid in your recipe. Otherwise, there's nothing that like to come to pressure. There's nothing to generate steam. Now, all of you have Pampered Chef's devices that are on here live, which is great because that liquid doesn't have to be true liquid like chicken broth or water. It can be something like salsa. Those of you watching the replay or watching through Facebook, if you have an Instapot or any other kind of brand of pressure cooker, it has to be true liquid, the water or the chicken broth. Because if there's not enough liquid, whatever's in there is just going to evaporate before the food's done, and it's never going to come to pressure. Katie, when you're doubling recipes, just keep your eye on that max fill line. It's very easy to see in the inner pot there. Your pressure cooker comes with a booklet of recipes. Quick Cooker did as well. Make sure you're familiar with this. If you lost it, I can email you a copy of it, and you can just keep it on your computer, your phone, or print it off. But this is like, if you just want to do like, steam broccoli one day, this will tell you what setting and how long to do it. Now, most recipes are going to say, when the cooking time is up, release the pressure. And that means just manually release, where you hit the button and the steam releases. If a recipe ever says, let it naturally release for 10 minutes, make sure you do that. There's a reason why it has to naturally release. If you don't, let's say like it's applesauce or something that you're cooking homemade applesauce. If you don't let it naturally release, the applesauce is so boiling hot. If you manually release it right away, it's going to end up on your ceiling. I have a couple recipes where you cook the meat on the bottom and then you do rice in a ceramic pot. And that recipe says to let it naturally release for 10 minutes, just because the chicken is already done, but the rice needs a little bit longer to finish cooking. So if it says naturally release, don't rush it. Make sure you do that. But otherwise, if it doesn't say anything like that, it's just manually release when it's done.
How do you do natural release?
You just let it sit there.
Okay.
And it just naturally releases.
Okay.
You can't really see it. But yeah, so what does it say? It's almost preheated?
Yes.
Okay. So once it's preheated, it's going to switch to 4 minutes.
Okay.
If it was the poultry setting, it would switch to like 14 or 15 minutes. I can't remember which one it is. And then it will do a countdown, so you know how close it is to being done. When it switches to warming, it will automatically count up.
Okay.
So, but good question. As it's coming to pressure, if you see a little bit of steam releasing, that's normal. It's totally fine. If it didn't naturally release a little bit, it would build up too much pressure, if that makes sense. Other questions?
So when it's saying natural release, it's just going to count back up to 10, and that's naturally releasing while it's staying warm, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yep. So the count up is nice because if the recipe says naturally release for 10 minutes, you don't have to set another timer or anything. It's
Right.
keeping track of it for you.
Okay.
Yep. Great question.
And that all works the same on the quick cooker
Yes.
thing that I have. Okay.
Yep.
And just one other question while I'm not on mute. Did you say earlier you can put frozen chicken in that?
Yeah.
Wow,
So that's
didn't know
that's one reason a lot of people like pressure cooking, because you get home from work, you get home from ballet or whatever, and you're like, oh man, I forgot to thaw the chicken. You can do, like, I could do frozen chicken in this recipe. And it's just gonna take a little bit longer to come to
Right.
pressure, and you might have to add a minute or two on the,
Okay,
yeah.
wonderful.
Good questions. What else? Okay, so there are, Pampered Chef does have accessories. In front, right here, in front of Christy is a glass lid. And that's handy for the slow cooker setting, or once your food's all done, you can take this bulky lid off and put that lid on. It just looks a little bit better. It's easier for kids to take on and off to serve. We have steaming baskets. They're 2-in-1. I'm gonna separate those for me. You can use them together. You can use them separate if I can get them apart, but that's nice. You know, for broccoli, any kind of vegetable you want to steam. Maybe I can get them apart. Don't worry about it. There is there we go. Springform pan. The only time I have ever made a decent cheesecake was in the pressure cooker, and that's that springform pan. And then we have a fluted
Holly.
cake pan.
Hey Holly, with your cheesecake, did it crack down the middle or did it stay? No, wonderful.
And I think it's just from the water. I don't know.
Yeah, that's a
Um,
good sign.
I don't know, you might not be able to see, but there's a little bit of steam coming out. And so that tells me that if it hasn't switched to 4 yet, it is almost ready to switch to 4. Yeah, and a lot of people like this size because a regular springform pan is just too much cheesecake for, you know, the typical family. So they like that smaller size. Now, the new Deluxe multi-cooker has a few more settings than your quick cooker and any of the other appliances on the market. There are 16 different settings, and I'm not going to read backwards, so I'm just going to look them up here. There's egg. Is that what you, okay, so Christy used that today to hard-boiled eggs. She said she's never going to do it again on the stove. There's poultry, beef, pork, seafood, white rice, whole grains, soup, beans, dessert, steam, sterilize, which is great for, you know, nursing moms and things like that. Sear, which we used, slow cook. So this is also a crock pot. And then sous vide and yogurt. Now, sous vide, any of you know what sous vide cooking is? Two of you are shaking your head. Katie's nodding.
Yeah, we get a lot of the Costco packs of the Kevin's brand stuff that has meat in a bag that's really moist.
Yeah.
Kind of odd, but it works out really well for quick dinners and stuff.
Absolutely. So
Mhm.
sous vide cooking is cooking in a water bath. And so it is super moist and tender. It's how a lot of restaurants will do their steak and their chicken, to make sure that it's the perfect temperature, and then they just sear it really quickly before bringing it out to you. But the water temperature comes to the exact temperature that you want your meat, and then it holds the meat at that temperature for a couple hours. So we have a sous vide function. None of the other appliances on the market do. And so this is an egg bites mold to make sous vide egg bites. Now, sous vide is kind of in between the speed of pressure cooking and slow cooking. Because it's in a water bath and you've got to let that water come to temperature, you have to plan on like 90 minutes minimum to like 3 hours, depending on what you're cooking. But it is the most tender meat ever. And it's hands-off cooking, which is nice.
And do you have to have special bags to do that?
No, we do have resealable bags for sous vide cooking, but you don't have to.
Okay.
You can just make sure that they are like name brand freezer bags, like
Okay.
your good quality freezer bags, and you have to get all the air out.
Okay.
Because otherwise the air is just gonna make it float a little bit to
Okay.
the top. So, or like if you have a vacuum sealing machine, that works well for sous vide, as well. Okay, so almost there. Okay, good questions. Any other questions about that stuff?
If you're doing the egg bites, do they take 90 minutes?
Yes.
Okay.
They take 90 minutes, and that was the first thing I sous vide because I thought this is easy. And they were like, Sheila, they were like melt in your mouth. So
And that
good.
was the one thing I really wanted to try. That's what I want to make first, I think. The
And
egg bite.
I've made like little egg bites in like the brownie bite pan in the oven.
Me too.
But they have that like, little crispiness on the edge a little bit. And these just like melt in your mouth. So it's amazing what sous vide does. Okay, so what I recommend, because like most of the people that I 12 people registered for the class, most of them got back with me and said that they have a pressure cooker, they just don't use it, or they've forgotten how to use it, or it's been 2 years, that kind of thing. So what I recommend is you get it out and you just set it on your counter as that visual reminder to start using it. And I'm gonna email you each a booklet of recipes, and it also includes a chart that helps you convert slow cooker to pressure cooker. So if you have a slow cooker recipe that you love, but you don't really want it to take 8 hours, it will tell you what setting and how long on pressure cooking. So I will email that to you. I'll also email you this recipe that we're making tonight, plus a couple of other, just some of my favorite pressure cooking recipes that like I make at shows and that just people really, really like, and they're relatively easy. So I would recommend starting with these recipes, maybe just like 2 a week, until you get familiar with the machine, comfortable with it, and you start to have some recipes that you put into your menu rotation. And so it just kind of becomes a habit, to not forget about your pressure cooker. Let's see. Okay, any other questions about pressure cooking?
So if you do because I do freezer meals,
Uh-huh.
can you use that without thawing them all the way?
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm one, as you know, I have never used it. It is sitting on my counter and I'm afraid of it. No, I'm afraid of messing it up or screwing something up. So it is sitting on my
Start with
counter
eggs. Start with
and I
eggs.
have
That is
never
easy.
used it.
Yeah, so like Christy said, start with eggs. So do you still have your booklet?
I'm not sure. I've got to see. I thought I lost the first one, so I ordered another one, and now I don't even know where the second one is. I don't
Maybe it's
think. I
in
gotta
the pot of your cooker.
Well, it wasn't when because I think that I don't think I got one the first time, but I didn't know for sure because it had been forever and I hadn't used it, but it wasn't in there when I went to. So then I ordered another one, and I got to see if I can find it.
Okay, if you can't find it, let me know. I'll just email
Okay.
you the PDF of it. But
Okay.
at the yours is gonna look a little bit different, but at the front, I think it's like the front inner page, maybe, it tells you 3 suggested recipes to start out with. And
Okay.
one of them is just doing eggs,
Okay.
just to kind of get familiar with the
Right.
buttons and all of that. So,
Okay.
one's eggs. I think one is just like salsa chicken, maybe. And I can't remember what the third is for the quick cooker.
Hey, Holly, I really enjoy using it for rice. I
Okay.
think all of our rice comes out fabulous. And so
Mhm.
I can make rice while I don't have to really pay attention to it.
Yeah.
And then I'll do something else on the skillet or whatever. But if you're looking for some good reason to use it and have it on your counter, rice is really, really, really great.
So tell Terry how you do rice.
I think I do it 1-to-1 ratio. So we have a large family. So I'll do 4 cups of rice and a whole box, like 4 cups of broth.
Uh-huh.
You can just use water. You can just use 4 cups water too. But I use the bone broth so that we get a little more protein cooked in there with our rice. That's all you really need. But I also add a tablespoon or so of olive oil and a sprinkle of salt and mix it all together and put it on the like a custom setting on the quick cooker for 24, 26 minutes, maybe. I can't remember what I do. I wrote it down somewhere. And just let it do that for the 24 or so minutes, and it's perfect every time.
Awesome. And
And
it's
what setting are
hands-off.
you putting it on?
You go to on the quick cooker, you go in the center section and you go to custom.
Oh,
And then
okay.
just enter your time that you're gonna do.
Okay.
So
Okay.
set it
Gotcha.
to like 24 or 25 minutes or something.
Right. Okay.
And that works great for 4 cups of rice, 4 cups of broth or water, or 2 cups of rice and 2 cups of broth or water.
Okay.
So we
All
really
right,
like
great.
that one.
Thank you.
So
Yeah.
custom is the pressure cooking setting where you can adjust the time.
Okay.
Yeah, awesome. And in your booklet, once you get it, Terry, it will actually tell you, okay, for brown rice, do this setting or do this amount. Couscous, quinoa, steel cut oats. So Katie, are you doing brown rice?
I generally like to do brown rice, so that's probably what I've based my timing on. But lately it's been harder to find. I like to get jasmine brown rice, and that's been harder to find in the grocery store. So it's just been regular jasmine rice.
Okay.
So I just cook the same, and it seems to work fine.
Perfect. So
Yeah.
the reason I asked for Terry, so like Terry, the guide is gonna tell you like that for 1 cup of brown jasmine rice is 15 minutes. But
Oh, yeah.
Katie's doing more rice than that. She's like quadrupling that. But then white rice is only 4 minutes.
Oh,
So
wow.
this guide is really, really helpful. And then like Katie said, if you notice that you had to adjust the time, like maybe it wasn't perfect, exactly, maybe like you did 24 minutes and you thought, this is like 2 minutes too long, just write on the guide. So the
Yeah.
next time that you know. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Usually I'm just Googling on the fly.
Whatever. So
Well, I appreciate it. Thank you. Cause I'm like, I really have got to start using this thing. It would be so helpful. And
For
'cause
sure.
I'm notorious for forgetting to get meat or something out the night before or I'm an hour before dinner time. I'm like, oh shoot, what are we going to have now for dinner? Because I totally wasn't thinking.
gotcha. Yeah. I think once you get in the habit of using this, whether your meat's frozen or not, you'll really like it. So, okay, it's done. So the 4 minutes, hopefully you saw it count down and, it beeped to let you know it's done. So if I don't do anything with it, it's probably 0 now. So it's going to start to count up. It will just gradually release, but I don't want you to have to just sit there for 10 minutes. So on your quick cooker, the release button is on top. Ours, the new Deluxe multi-cooker, it's on the front, and it actually gives you like a 3 beep warning to like, hey, I'm getting ready to release the steam, which is really nice. So do you want to hit that, Christy?
Yeah, do you have to hit the X first, then the steam, or just right to the steam?
I just go right to the steam, but maybe you have to hit the X.
I was working today.
So
That's,
just hit it once.
and then,
There you go.
oh,
Oh, Holly.
Yeah.
If you like cook something and then when you like open it and you don't think it's like all the way cooked, do you just
Hold
leave
on.
it?
Say all I'm hearing is steam.
Oh, if you like cook something and then when the timer's done and everything and you think it's not really cooked enough, you just leave it in the warmer, or can you go back in and pressure cook it longer?
You can pressure cook it a little bit longer. I had a host last week who was taking a meal to a couple different people. So she threw like 2 roasts in there on the slow cooker setting while she went to sub for the morning. And when she came back, it wasn't quite done. And so she just put it on pressure cooking for like 30 minutes and it was perfect. So yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Good question. Okay, so once that is done, you cannot open up the machine. Same with the quick cooker. You can't open it up until all the pressure is out and the steam is released. That's just a safety feature. I know that this is done when this little knob on the top is flush again. So right now it's still releasing a little bit of steam. And what Christy's gonna add is roughly like 4 ounces of cream cheese. And you wanna get the whole fat cream cheese. If you get the light or the no fat, it's not gonna be as flavorful because your flavor sticks to the fat. So unless the recipe calls for like the low fat cream cheese, get the regular, same with sour cream. And she's gonna add cheddar cheese. It's gotta be freshly grated cheddar cheese. This recipe calls for 4 ounces because Pampered Chef was trying to like make their recipes healthier. So they cut back on the cheese and all we do is just double it anyways. So that's like 6 ounces of freshly grated cheese. So she'll mix that and get it melted. And then we're gonna add the juice from a half a lemon. You can leave this out if your family doesn't like lemon, but it does give a nice little I don't know, citrus boost to it, and then some broccoli. So, all right. And our lid fits right here, and there's a little well that catches all the water for your quick cooker. If you put it face down on your counter, it's gonna get water everywhere. So I would put it face up and then take it over to the sink and kind of put it face down, so.
That's awesome. I didn't realize it does that. When new one does, like, yeah, this is you have the new one.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. All right, so putting that in there. And I'm just gonna move this because it's in my way when I'm talking to you. Okay. Let me cut this lemon in half. Now, what I do is I just let the broccoli sit in there for a couple minutes with the lid on, just to soften it up a little bit. It's not gonna be completely cooked, like if it, you put it in the microwave or something. All right, and then I'm doing half a lemon here. Now I have to say that like normally leftover chicken kind of makes me like sick, and pressure cooker leftover chicken does not. I don't know why. I don't know if it's a texture thing. It's just so much more tender. But like normally I would not serve this the next night for dinner because it's leftover chicken, but since it's pressure cooked chicken, I can do it. You can just put that lid on. Okay, so let me remind you here. Thank you. I'm gonna just turn this a little bit so I can show you some things on my computer. Okay, so I'm gonna email you all this stuff. Terry, let me know if you can't find your guide. Sheila, you have your guide, right? You referred to it earlier. Okay, Carla, let me know if you need your guide. And again, just set it out on your counter and just start using it once or twice a week. Start with some easy things and then just incorporate those recipes into your menu rotation. And I think you'll find that you'll really start liking it. I just want to go over a couple announcements, and I'm going to have Christy draw a number and we'll see whose participant number that is, and I'll send a gift to you. But if you know that there are some things on your wish list, these are the specials that are going on right now in February. And if you look up here in the top right, when you spend $90 or more, you get a free mini mix and scraper. That's the size that Christy used with the onions, my favorite size. I have 3 of them. And then spend $120 or more, you get that mix and scraper and you get a free mystery gift, which is fun. If you like quick baking mixes just to add to a meal, or, for pancake night or whatever, our baking mixes are buy 3, get 1 free, and you can mix and match. My 2 favorites are the pancake and waffle mix and the rosemary focaccia bread. Love those. If you need some mealtime inspiration, our Taste Buds subscription service is 25% off this month. And I can email this to you as well, because I know some of you are on your phone and it may look really, really small. all of you have hosted parties before, so you kind of know the drill. If your wish list is really long, we can definitely do another hostess rewards party. A shared rewards party is fun. As orders increase, as the sales increase, everybody's discount increases, which is fun. Or if you need to raise money for a cause or an organization, a fundraiser is a great way to do that. February is always stoneware month with Pampered Chef. So if you have some stoneware on your wish list, it's 60% off for hosts this month. And then for February, it's the month of love, the month of red. They brought some red enameled cast iron, and this is just available for this month. So I have a lot of customers that like are passionate about cast iron, especially the Dutch oven size for sourdough bread making, which I have done, marked it off the bucket list, and I'm good. I am good. But a lot of people love the Dutch oven for sourdough. Okay, any other questions as you think of about pressure cooking?
So with the newer quick cooker thing, what's it called?
The Deluxe multi-cooker.
Yes. With the multi-cooker, how have you used the yogurt function? And
I personally have not, because I don't like yogurt
okay.
at all.
Well,
I have team members who absolutely love it and they use it all the time.
okay.
Christy's going to do it next and she's going to tell me how it goes.
Well, let me know.
I should probably do it. Lincoln likes yogurt. I should probably do it, but I just can't. I don't like yogurt.
Fair enough.
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna put in the chat, also email it to you if there are items that you want to grab. That's a discount shopping link, and it will be good until next Thursday. It's good for 1 week. So, and feel free to share that with any friends or family who might want stuff at a discount as well.
Where else can we get that link if I can't?
Oh, I'll email it to you too.
Okay,
I'll
okay,
include it in the same email with your
okay, wonderful.
yeah, your recipes. So, and just shoot me a question. Like, even I've had people text me in the middle of making something. They're like, I don't know what my machine is doing. And usually like it's normal. It's fine. You know, it's just the first or second time they've used it, and just, you know, like the little steam coming out kind of surprised them. So don't hesitate to text me if you've got a question.
And this is off subject, but I have not forgotten, and I need to get with you because we are probably going to do that bridal shower. It's for my soon-to-be daughter-in-law.
Yay.
So yeah, I'm just trying to figure out the right time of starting or what month to do it in, really.
Gotcha. Pampered Chef bridal showers and registries are so fun.
Yeah.
Start
I mean,
off-
it'll be all online because we're really doing it because our side of the family, they're not all local.
Gotcha.
So that's why I thought it'd be a great opportunity for her to get some Pampered Chef and for them to be able to purchase her something.
Perfect. I did quite a few online bridal showers during COVID.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're really successful. And I did one for my nephew. He got married in September down in Savannah. So we did it online and it was
Right.
great. So
Okay.
cool.
Wonderful.
All right. Any other questions?
This isn't on the multi-cooker topic, but I saw briefly that the twist and chop, or the like to do like ground hamburger,
Mix and chop.
mix and chop, has been kind of reformatted.
So yes and no. So we still
Okay.
have the regular mix and chop.
Okay.
And then they came out with a mix and chop spatula that looks a little different.
Okay. How are you enjoying that change? Or do you,
I still use the regular mix and chop.
okay.
Yeah. Sheila's agreeing. Yeah. It just, because it has the 5 points or whatever, it just does a better job. And I never really had a need for the spatula component. So
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I was curious.
anything else?
Actually, go back to the meal. So you don't cook the the broccoli just in there is softened. You
Yeah.
don't need to.
Nope, it's just
With the
softening in
pants and
there.
that,
So
yeah.
if your kids don't like the texture of the broccoli, you could leave it in there longer, or you could, zap it in the microwave for a couple minutes and then throw it in there. I'll send some home with you. So,
I would probably use the shears, I don't know what they're called.
the
Pampered-
professional shears, yeah, or the salad choppers.
The salad choppers, yes, that chops everything, especially the vegetables for our kids, and they can't always tell, or it's
That's
just
a good
easier,
idea.
smaller bites for everybody
Yeah.
to.
And
So I
you
would
could,
probably
you could do that right in the inner pot. It's not gonna
Cool.
damage it. Yeah, yeah, when I cut the broccoli, I do try to cut it pretty small, just so it does cook a little bit more than if it was like a big thing. So, cool. Anything else?
Have you ever steamed the broccoli first and then put it in that recipe?
I haven't, but you could definitely do that to make it softer.
Okay.
Yep. And I mean, even just letting it sit in there for 10 minutes is even going to soften it some too. Yeah, the first time I made the recipe, I didn't cut the broccoli small enough, and I was like, oh, I think next time I'm going to make it smaller so it does soften up a little bit. So the color is great though, for sure.
Mhm.
Good questions. So yeah, maybe start with this recipe since you've seen it being made. Another really easy recipe I'm going to send you is called chicken Parmesan pasta. If your kids like, chicken Parmesan, they're going to love this, and it's so much faster. There's a tortilla soup that's super easy. Salsa chicken is really easy. It's basically just putting salsa on top of chicken, cooking it on the poultry setting, shredding it up with the salad choppers and serving it over rice. So that
Does
would,
the pasta stuff cook up nice in there?
does what?
Like when you cook pasta in it, does it like come out nice or does it get mushy?
So I don't do like just straight pasta like Katie was talking about the rice, but in recipes, it turns out really nice.
Okay, that's why I was looking at that one you just said
The
on
chicken
here.
Parmesan pasta.
Yeah, and I was like, does the pasta come out gross or mushy?
No.
But no,
Because you're not cooking the pasta in water ahead of time. It's gonna cook in the chicken broth and the marinara. And yeah, that recipe I did at my in-person pressure cooking class. It's always really popular.
have you ever tried to put like the dried tortellini in there instead? The ones that have like the cheese and stuff in them?
Oh, I haven't, but I bet that would work.
Yeah, because I thought that might be good too, but I didn't know if you could just sub that in or not, if it would work.
Is it
It's like
refrigerated?
it's like actually
Oh.
hard, like
Okay, I bet it would work.
I might try that then too.
Start with the time of the chicken Parmesan pasta, and then if it's not soft as you would like, maybe just do it again for 1 minute and then make a note on the recipe.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, cool. All right, anything else? Okay, I will kind of clean up here, and then I will shoot you the email with all this information, and just let me know if you need anything else.